Hello to all of you wonderful moms out there. This is episode 80 of Achieve Your Ambitious Mom Life. I'm your host, Anoki Kapasi, and I'm here, as always, to help you envision, plan, and take action on your big ideas so that you can create the impact that you want at home and at work. So today I'm continuing our Systems Explained series with part 2, which is all about the benefits of systems. Systems can help you save time, yes, save energy and resources, but there are so many other advantages of having systems in place in your life. So if you're tired of never being able to get things done, especially in the time that you have, then this is going to be the episode for you. Now, this series spawned from a client who actually asked me about how she could design a life so that she doesn't always have to be on, because she was constantly doing things to address all of her family's needs, her business's needs, and she just never felt like she could ever just fully turn off and relax and sit there with her own thoughts. So if that's you, if you're exhausted from constant decisions, if your days feel like an endless stream of what's next moments, and it's leaving you depleted and overwhelmed, I think this episode is going to really feel like you can now take a deep exhale. Because when you're trying to juggle career goals and family responsibilities and still have energy left for yourself, right? Systems aren't just a nice to have. They're kind of our secret weapon for reclaiming your sense of purpose beyond all of the chaos that we deal with on a daily basis. So I'm sharing 5 powerful benefits of systems that go way beyond just saving you time. If you haven't listened to part 1 in the Systems Explained series, where I go into detail about what systems are, because that term kind of gets thrown around a lot. And I also talk about what triggered me to get serious about using systems. Well, I would encourage you to first listen to that episode. That's episode 79, and it's called Beyond Productivity, the number one way to not always be on as a mom. And I've linked that episode in the show notes. Then if you're ready to learn about how systems can make so much of your daily decision-making automatic and freeing you up to work on your bigger life vision, then you've come to the right place. Are you looking for a way to blend success and motherhood without losing sight of who you are? I get it. I've been there too. Hi, I'm Anoki, a PhD researcher, business owner, and homeschooling mom of 2 boys. As your life coach, I help moms like you create a life you love at home and at work. If you're ready to stop feeling overwhelmed, overscheduled, and overlooked, and want a clear roadmap to a balanced life, a meaningful career, and finally feeling like yourself again while being the awesome mama that you are, you're in the right place. In this journey to create the life you truly desire, it's time to rediscover your dreams and achieve your ambitious mom life. Hi, friend. Do you have a burning question about how to turn your ideal life into your real life? If you're completely new to this concept of designing and envisioning your life and you're thinking, Anoki, I'm starting from scratch. I have no clue what life planning is. You might be wondering, what is vision casting anyways? How can I learn new things when it's always so chaotic in my home? How do you create a system? How much time should I spend on my passions? These are the kinds of questions that my clients sometimes ask me. Well, I have great news for you. I love questions. Send me your questions, and I promise I will receive them completely judgment-free. And they might even become the focus of a future episode. Think of it as a free coaching call that you can even receive anonymously just by sending me a question and me answering it on a podcast episode. So just click that Ask Me a Question link in the show notes, and then it'll bring you to my website, and in just one click, you can leave me a voice message with your question. Or if you prefer a different way, you can just scroll up on the website, and there's a web form that you can just type and submit. And of course, the old-fashioned way, emailing me directly at hello@solveformom.com is a perfectly fine way. I respond to every email I get. So I really do hope that you ask me your question, because chances are, if you're thinking it, I'm sure somebody else is in the community as well. Your question really might just help another mom who's facing the same challenges. Thanks, and I really look forward to helping you out with your questions. So before we dive in, I want to frame what I mean by systems in the context of a busy mom life. A system is simply a documented, repeatable process for handling recurring tasks or decisions. It's kind of like having a personal assistant that whispers in your ear saying, here's what's going to work best in this situation. So in part 1 of Systems Explained series, I really go into quite a bit of detail and offer up examples as well. But now let's talk about some concrete benefits of building systems. So you might want to pull out your notebook for this one because you want to make sure, almost as a checklist, that when you're eventually building your systems, that you're able to capture this benefit in your design as well. And these go way beyond just saving time, although that's certainly a major perk as well. I'm going to be providing you some examples of how I experience these benefits in my own life with the systems that I use. So the first benefit is that systems simplify things. First and foremost, I want my life to be simpler because I'm using the system. When you're trying to get something done, especially if it's a process, it has multiple steps, and sometimes the task can feel so overwhelming because you're thinking about all the tasks and they're all jumbled in your head. But what a system does is it doesn't make you think about all the steps in one go. You can just rely on the fact that you have an established system, that the playbook is there and it's going to be very clear to use. So even if a system ends up with 10 different steps, all you have to focus on is the step that you're working on in that moment. And if you're starting, then you're at step 1, and you don't have to worry about the 9 other steps that are down the road. And the reason that things are simplified is that you don't have to reinvent this sequence of steps, and you're not going to have to worry about all the decision making that's involved during the steps and transitioning to each step. So here's a really easy example. I mentioned in the last episode that I have a morning routine. And the morning routine that I've designed is because I have a very short time between when I wake up and when I have to start our homeschool with our kids. And so I have also established a morning routine with my kids so that they can get a series of tasks and stuff done that prepares them to then show up in our attic where we have our homeschool. So for me, having these morning routine systems down for myself and for my kids is really great. I never have to worry. It's the same series of steps. They know what they have to do. I know what I have to do. There's minimal communication back and forth about this. And even if there's a lapse in memory, let's say on my kids' part on something, when I remind them, it's not like they have a lot to argue with because they know that this is an expectation of them every morning. So here's what I want you to take away from the fact that systems simplify processes and tasks for you. Identify one process that you have to do that is multi-step and that consistently also has been causing you a bit of stress, let's say in your week. For us, the mornings can be very stressful, so having these morning systems really simplify things for us but reduce the stress as well. Okay, another big deal about systems is that they really help you prioritize, especially when the tasks that we deal with as ambitious moms are urgent or important, and everything often feels important to us. Without a system, we might end up defaulting to whatever just feels most pressing at the time, or whatever was the latest thing to pop up in our inbox. But we're not necessarily thinking about what the most important thing is. What is our priority? Systems give you that framework to help you prioritize and apply the rules to decide what you should tackle next. People ask me all the time, how are you able to do it all? They're referring to the fact that I homeschool, I am a contract consultant, I run a business, I host this podcast, I am able to stay fit, I grow my own vegetables, I take classes and pursue my own interests. So yeah, I am able to do a lot of things. But the answer is life planning, and it's all powered by systems. So a life plan is a clear roadmap to the life that you envision. And I talk about life planning pretty much in every episode, but if you want to get a really great overview, then check out episode 55, which is the ultimate guide to life planning. And systems are the topic of this 4-part series because they are integral to using this roadmap, your life plan. So here's how I think about it. Your life plan is your destination and your map, and the vision for your life that you want to create. It's aligned with your deepest values. But systems are the vehicle that are going to get you there. So you can have the most beautiful, inspiring life plan in the world, but without systems to consistently move you in that direction, it's going to remain just that, a plan and not your reality. So systems are what are going to turn your ideal life into your real life one day at a time. And this is especially crucial for ambitious moms because we're not just crafting our own lives, we're modeling for our children what it looks like to live with purpose and follow through on what matters. So benefit 3 is all about speeding up execution. Systems create this pattern from a cue that gets you started on your process and the actions that it takes to complete that process. And honestly, there's very little thinking or even desire or want involved, like the emotions taken out of it. You don't need to be motivated or have willpower. You just need to execute on your system. And when you take all of that fluffy stuff out of it, right, and it's literally just a program that you hit start on, then it's going to save you so much time because you don't have to waver. Should I? Shouldn't I? Right? We spend so much mental energy on deciding what to make for dinner each night. But imagine just having a meal planning system where the decision making is taken out of it. It was set up once, which I've done for my meal plan. I set it up once, like 6 years ago. It's on my calendar. I literally have a rotation of about 90 meals when you add up breakfast, lunches, and dinners together. And I recycle those 90 meals every 30 days. The decision is already made. I just have to execute. I've implemented this as well with my content creation workflow at work. I don't really have to stare at a blank page anymore. I have my workflow set up so that when I finish one thing, it queues up the next thing for me. And it's really cut down my content creation time in about half, I would say, as when I used to spend on it in the beginning without my systems. All right, so your takeaway tip in terms of system saving time. Think about one recurring decision that you have to make and you feel really drained after you deal with this. And then create some sort of default response or a template or a plan so that you don't have to make that decision over and over again. Make that decision and somehow have it available to just reload every time you need it. So for example, if you're creating a grocery list, okay? Let's say you see that every week some of the ingredients on your grocery list are the same. Then don't sit there with a blank grocery list every week and start from scratch. Instead, if you know that those are things you need every week, make sure your list already starts with those things. Now, your pain point in decision making may not be dealing with grocery lists. It could be something completely different. But whatever that is for you, see if you can sort of template that in there so that you don't have to make that decision again. Now, systems also save you other kinds of resources like your energy and your finances. So taking the example I gave with the grocery list, imagine if you had forgotten stuff off of that list. Well, then now you're going to have to go and make an extra trip to the grocery store, so wasting more time and more energy. Also, you're probably spending more money doing that. Maybe you end up buying things you don't need off your list because you're just so frustrated. Or maybe you spent extra gas driving over to the grocery store a second time. So by using systems, you're less likely to make mistakes, but also you don't need to make the same decisions over again, which save you so much time and effort. Okay, I think this fifth benefit is probably my favorite, which is that systems reduce your mental load by externalizing all of that memory and kind of outsourcing it to the tool or the ritual, the system, basically. We talked about how adults have to make all of these decisions on a daily basis in the last episode. And if even a fraction of those can get eliminated, think about how much lighter you would feel every day. Well, systems let you offload all of that cognitive burden. So one example is, in my homeschooling, I have the entire year laid out already. I use 1 week in the summer and I use it to do some intensive planning so that I know on a week-by-week basis what each of my kids need to learn for each subject. And I get down to which library books I want to include in that week's library trips. I know exactly which experiments we're setting up in science, and therefore I know which materials I need to have ready. Some things are common household items, and I want to make sure that I haven't run out of those when the time comes to doing those experiments. I know exactly which field trips I would like to shoot for that week, which means that if I have to buy tickets in advance or get passes from the library for discount rates or whatever the case may be, all of that is planned out. I don't have to make those decisions every day in my homeschool. Instead, my time and energy can be focused on actually teaching the kids, sitting with them, observing what they're doing, helping them, coaching them. I am not sitting there trying to figure out, what page do I have to get next? Which subject am I going to try to do next? Everything is already organized because of my homeschool prep system that I have. And guys, the mental load of trying to do it all is real. I know that you can feel overwhelmed by all of your responsibilities, and you're probably wondering, well, is there a way to predictably make progress on the things that I care about? Can I really blend the the things that I want to do and still be a good mom, I'm constantly switching between all of my tasks. I don't really feel like I'm moving forward in any meaningful way. It's just a thing that we face as high achieving moms, right? We kind of think, oh, that is normal. Well, I want you to understand that you're not alone and that every great desire to, let's say, create a life where you can really show up the way you want to show up in every single role that you have. Every mom who's ever wanted to regain control of her day has felt what you're feeling right now. And so if that's speaking to your heart and you're like, I'm done with carrying everything in my head. I am so done with not being able to predict what my day will be like. I'm going to run towards creating systems and reduce my mental load and make progress that's predictable, not where some days are complete doozies and other days I'm getting everything that I wanted done. I want to say to you, yes, today is the day. I want you to go to solveformom.com right now. That's my website, and book that free exploratory call. You don't have anything to lose because it's free. All you can do is learn from it and see if you might have just opened a huge door for yourself. And when you schedule a session, we're going to do this together. I'm going to hold your hand and we're going to overcome this decision fatigue so that you can start bridging your ideal life with your real life. I'm also going to help you develop systems that are actually going to work. And it all starts with building a life plan. This is going to work. Let's go. Okay, so I would say those are the top 5 benefits of systems, although there are so many secondary perks. I mean, really, the list of benefits feels almost endless. But since we're talking about the benefits of systems, let me just name a couple more benefits. I mentioned some of them in the part 1 episode, but systems offer consistency. They offer predictability. They also offer scalability and also peace of mind often. So going back to the meal planning system, which I don't think is the most important system, but I'm referring to it because it's probably one that we're all familiar with and it's a really easy one to refer to. Well, it offers consistency. I know that every month I'm going through the same cycle of meals. Predictability, I know exactly what I'm getting for breakfast every Wednesday morning, for example. And scalability, well, let's say I set up my system for dinners. I can also use the same meal planning system and apply it to lunches and breakfasts. In fact, my cycle for breakfasts are weekly, but my cycle for dinners are actually monthly. So I'm able to adjust and modulate it based on what I need it for. I also essentially use the same kind of system, but for home management tasks, for all the chores that we need to get done in our house. Now, the type of information that populates those days and times are different because it consists of chores, not meals. But essentially, I'm using the same system and modifying it slightly to accommodate home management tasks. Well, with the right system in place, I don't really have to worry about whether the task is going to get done or not, whether I have the right stuff to get the task done or not. All of that is sort of baked in to the system. Oh, wow. We have covered so much ground today. Let's recap the core benefits of having systems in your life. I actually named 5. So the first thing is that systems simplify a complex process that you have. And things that feel chaotic are going to start to feel like you have a playbook to follow now with systems. The second thing is that systems are going to help you organize all of the competing demands that you have because systems offer a framework to prioritize your tasks. The third thing is that systems speed up your execution and they remove a lot of decision fatigue related to that. And then the fourth thing is that systems, just like it saves you time, also saves you other resources such as your effort and your mental energy and your finances and things like that. The fifth benefit, and perhaps maybe the most important one for us busy moms, is that they reduce the mental load by giving you a way to offload that memory portion of it. So just remember that systems aren't meant to be rigid. They offer structure, but they don't limit your flexibility in any way, okay? They are scaffolding for you to get things done. It's about creating freedom by handling routine matters so efficiently that you have more energy for the things that matter to you. And this spans all domains of your life. Like it could be career goals, it could be quality time with your kids, it could be finally making space for a passion project or building something that you've been dreaming about, developing this big idea into a business or something that serves the greater world at large. If you want to do something super duper simple that's helps you understand how systems are going to help you, because you might be sitting here thinking, wow, that's great. I can see that systems are helpful and I can now understand what systems are from part 1, but that's going to be a lot of work to set up, and I really don't see if it's going to make all that much of a difference for me. Well, this little exercise is going to help you settle that for once and for all. I want you to fill the blanks in on this sentence. Maybe take out your notepad again and just write this down. I'm building a system to reduce a blank by doing blank every blank. So here's an example. I'm building a system to reduce morning chaos by preparing backpacks and lunches every morning. Or try this example. I'm building a system to decision fatigue surrounding meals by scheduling all of my meals on a calendar every month. So if you're feeling brave, share your sentences with me on LinkedIn by tagging @solveformom. And I'd love to see what you're working on. And also, I can offer any suggestions or feedback if you think that that would help. Thanks so much for listening today. Remember, small systems are really going to create big impact, as I mentioned in the last episode. And I just think that once you have those systems, you can start using them more consistently, and they're really going to kind of overhaul your whole day, your whole life, in fact. I know that sounds big. It's not that I'm asking you to revolutionize your entire life all at once. It's just that you're going to take one small area, we're going to tackle that area with a system, and you're going to see that it's going to make a meaningful difference in that area. But then as you start doing that with more and more domains of your life, you're going to start to see that it's a whole life change that you end up with in a good way, in a way that's consistent with your life plan and that moves you forward towards your vision, towards your goals. Okay, so next episode, we're going to continue our Systems Explained series with part 3, and I'm going to share the actual steps to building your very own systems. Oh gosh, this is going to be so exciting. I know I really geek out on this kind of stuff, but I know that all of this is going to help you achieve your ambitious mom life. I hope today's episode will help you create time and freedom to pursue something you love to do. If you enjoy the show, please subscribe and tell other purpose-driven mamas about it. Who knows? You might even make a new friend by sharing a tip. It's all free. By the way, it would be amazing to hear what you think about the show when you leave a review on Apple Podcasts. After all, my passion is to make this a great experience for you. I'll see you next week for another episode of Achieve Your Ambitious Mom Life with Anoki Kapasi.